I will be sure that the lady's just like you, my friend. The very next time she will be my friend, someone who I can believe in.
Garfield, Carl, Mark, and Darnell, 4 students at the historically Black University, Howard, 3 of whom members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Mark, Darnell, and Carl. They gravitated toward each other through their interest in music and their desire to showcase their talent. Organically, the group called Shai was born. In this video, we learn through the eyes of Mark.
At St. Paul, I was in the youth choir, and Victor was the organist, pianist. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to learn piano. That's how a lot of this started. And I actually sang in junior high. Mm-hmm. The only elective that I thought could be like something I'd be interested in was chorus. Mm-hmm. So I was singing in the chorus. They needed a piano player. I was learning piano with Uncle Vic, and was singing in this choir. But I didn't have a piano at home. Mm-hmm. So the only piano that I could learn on was actually at Grandma and Grandpa's house. Mm-hmm. So I would go from the church youth choir kind of thing and go over to the house, and Victor would teach me for an hour or so every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So that's how a lot of it, as far as playing piano and that kind of thing got started when I was 12 years old. And that kept going and going. And when Victor thought it was a time for me to move on to a different teacher, he said, okay, it's about that time. I need you to move on, learn. And I kept going with another teacher. Then high school came up. I kind of stalled out for a while because I didn't want to learn a lot of classical stuff at that point. I was just into high school. Mm-hmm. So, but I kept singing and playing over the time. Mm-hmm. And so I actually wrote songs, dabbled in, writing songs during high school. And one of the songs actually was Together Forever, which ended up appearing on the first Shai album. But I wrote that in high school.
I know you're in high school.
Yeah, I wrote that in high school.
Just you and me, I'll be with you until the end of time.
What is the largest crowd that you've ever performed in front of?
Oh my goodness. I would probably have to say the inauguration. Mm-hmm. Clinton inauguration, 1993. And then on top of that, we got to perform with Luther Vandross, mm-hmm. Melissa Etheridge. I can't think of the other guy. It was so long ago. That's when you get older, you start forgetting names of all the artists that you perform with. But we used to see them on the road all the time. But I mean, you're performing with all these people, and they would have us in a holding tent, and you're meeting Boys to Men and talking to all these other artists and hanging out. But when you look out from the Lincoln Memorial and you look out on the mall and you see all the thousands and thousands of people that you're performing to, and you really can't hear yourself at the time, but you just get up there and you're like, this is really amazing. And to see that we were in school the year before, and then all of a sudden we're January 93, we're performing at inauguration, was like, this is really incredible that we're getting to experience this.
I don't want to bring anybody else in this, but Lady Gaga, like when I was watching the inauguration for Joe Biden, I felt Lady Gaga's like energy, like she was walking. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, she is happy, like she's humble. Yeah. Although she was all made up, I could tell she was like, I can't believe it.
I mean, that energy is just something different. I mean, you just realize the historical nature of the event, one. Mm-hmm. Two, the fact that all these people are listening to you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And on top of that, you're there. Like I'm the one that's the focus. So like, yeah, I know about my dress and my what we have on and that kind of thing. And I know my name's gonna come up on the nameplate and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is really happening right now to me.
Yeah.
It's an amazing moment and nobody can take that away from you. It's really amazing.
What artists inspired you all?
I think on a certain level, we had our peers to where they were so good, and we saw Boyz II Men and Jodeci on the road right before we came out. So we knew we had to at least be that good on stage and figure that out. Because if we didn't, we weren't going to last long. And then it was the age of everybody's being a group, so you had to differentiate yourself on stage and do that, but you still had to have the classic moves of the Temptations, the Jacksons. Sounds good as Michael. Somebody should be in there somewhere.
Yeah,
it's good, but a little bit of it. I'm a Prince fan, so everything had to be of high quality, sonically, lyrically, that kind of thing. Ballads and up tempos, you had to balance it out, but it had to be. And I think the biggest compliment that he gave us, where he was always checking in. One of our bodyguards actually worked for Prince. So he would always send us a message through the bodyguard, like, how you doing? How, you guys on your masters yet? This classic Prince stories where, he's always trying to figure out. Yeah. All right, I love your song.
I've heard stories how he would be like sitting at a club or somewhere, and then somebody would be right over there.
Yeah. Right on the other side. You wouldn't even know that he's there because he's so tiny. And he had a club in LA at the time, and it was Glam Slam, and one of the biggest nights. I don't know if it was a Grammys, but we actually ended up going, and I'm hanging out. And he just across the bar over here on this side, and but I'm a big fan, so I actually was scared of meeting the person, because I didn't want to meet the person and then be completely not like I thought they were.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So I avoided meeting some people just because. But most of the people that we met were really, really cool. Elder Barge was definitely.
Oh yeah, he seems down to earth.
So talented.
I love Elder Barge. I love him.
Shaka Khan we met, George Duke we met. So meeting all these people and having them talk to us and joke around. Luther Vandross is one of the biggest jokesters around.
Oh.
Like, he is a prankster, jokester. Like, nobody would know this but he was so slick with it. He'd be in the middle of a conversation and he would just bust in and say his part and dip out. Like, are you serious? Like, Luther's right?
Give me an example.
Luther was that guy, but incredible voice, was spot on when it's time to perform. You wouldn't even know the prankster was that guy. But that's
give me an example. Like, you have a clean, nice example.
I don't know about clean. But we were definitely at the inauguration rehearsal, and somebody was singing something off note, and Luther would chime in. You know he can't sing, right? just like,
I can see him.
I don't even know what he's doing over there. Like, this is the guy that's singing all the ballads and
never too much. Give me the reason.
Come on, man. Like, this is how it's gonna be the next few years. Okay, sign me up. I'm here now. This is great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there are a whole bunch of stories, and people actually pick out somebody in the group that they gravitate to, and that would be the person that they would kind of pal around with and joke with. And it was amazing, like, being a fourth person, even with the radio stations. There'll always be a DJ that, like, got along with Darnell more, or somebody else that got along with Carl more, or somebody that got along with me. And then we were always like, we went to Howard at that point. So we're like, okay, this person connected this way. You need to make sure that you stay connected with that person. That way we can make all of this work.
Exactly. Relationships, connections, networking.
Yeah, we made sure those relationships were kind of tight like that.
I don't want to put this pressure on you, but I listened somewhere that you all were under Whitney Houston on the billboards one time.
Oh my God. You saw my face, right?
I'm sorry?
You saw my face, right?
I listened to the interview.
Whitney Houston never let us be number one. We were always number 2. Every week we would come out, and here we go. I will always love you. Did we reach the top yet? Did we get there? Whitney's number 1 again. So I think it ended up before Mariah Carey, I think, broke the record. I think Whitney Houston was number 1 for all these weeks. So we ended up being number 2, number 2, number 2. But everybody thought we were number 1 because they heard the song so much. So you don't go around saying you're number 2. That's not something to do. But yeah, Whitney would beat us every week in the Billboard chart.
Yeah, which song was that? That was which song?
I will always love you. From the Bodyguard soundtrack. Yeah.
And which song were you? Which song were y'all under her with number 2?
If I Ever Fall in Love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever communicate with her? Like, how did she ever say it, or she was just busy? Like, she was just doing her.
No, she was busy.
8 weeks.
I don't think we ever really ran across Whitney like that.
But 8 weeks, that's amazing though. 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, I think we're the longest running number 2 or something like that. It was crazy. Grandpa had already built Allen Temple at that point. So, all right, funny story. I get back from college. I'm writing songs and doing whatever. I'm writing gospel songs for the church. I bring it to Allen Temple. And my grandfather looks at me, boy, do you know any classics? Do you know any hymns? Do you know any hymns? Can you spirituals? If you don't do the hymns, I don't want to hear it. So I took my little music, wrapped it on up, took it on back. But the thing is, like years later, I was able to get him to come to the show that we performed in Miami. So there's no feeling whatsoever than having Reverend Gaye and audience watching your show. Like, I don't care what anybody says. That was like my number 1. I had to make sure that he was taken care of at the show. Whatever seat you need to give him, make sure he's there. That's what it is right now. And oh man, there's no feeling like that. And being able to perform in front of your family, there's nothing like. Between Miami and Atlanta, there's a lot of family to take care of. But those experiences and being able to, I always came home to church and I would just go to service. It wasn't like, I grew up in St. Paul. So that's what I knew. That's where I learned. That's home and 51st Terrace. Like, I'm going to go there. Even though I went to Allen Temple for service, I would go back to St. Paul after church and go hang out with my people who were there because that's where I grew up.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, there's no feeling like it. And everybody was happy. They couldn't believe it, of course. I don't know if they saw it coming. I mean, but I did perform at all the church conferences. There was always something happening. I was always playing. Somebody else would be singing. And then I would always do something at a conference. So again, those conferences went every summer, from 83 to 87 maybe. I don't know if I went my last year, but definitely 83 to 86. I went to all those conferences. So there was always something. I was singing somewhere, doing something, doing karaoke somewhere. So I met a lot of people along the way who knew I liked singing, didn't know about it. Not a group, but we would always sing to the girls too. Like Kenara and I, we were always singing to somebody, like just because. So, there are a lot of people we knew from the just going to the conventions.
Awesome. Giving back, you gave back. Did you, was it by yourself or did your, some of your brothers, AKA colleagues, AKA fellow members?
I think it was always special. Like when we went to somebody's hometown, we always kind of did something, even if it was like a little basketball game or spending time with the families. My mom would host people at the house. When we did shows in Miami, we always have one day of making sure that everybody could come over and hang out and at least meet the guys, that kind of thing. And when I went to other cities where everybody was trying to do the same thing, one of the most special things I think we did, we were able to afford our mom's trips early on. So they all went to Hawaii together. The 4 moms went to Hawaii together.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Like that was way early on. I think that was around, we flew them in for Arsenio.
Okay.
Kind of yeah. So yeah, we did Arsenio, I think 3 times. So the second time or the third time is when they came in to do that and they went on the trips on their own. Yeah, so we were always able to share, with a lot of people, and there's nothing like other families getting to meet other families and enjoying that moment all together and being friends and sharing in that.
Are you still AME? Are you still African Methodist Episcopal?
I don't go currently to an AME, but I consider myself a lifelong AME member.
Awesome, awesome. That goes back to that Black history.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marc Gay.